So welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode of Kingscape 80. Today we're gonna switch it up a little bit. We have a different setup. I told you I wanted to kind of bring up a new, different content, a little bit of a different vibe or content and all that. So today we have not only one, nor two, but three guests. Two of them have been before in the podcast. One is a brand new guest. We're gonna pop his cherry today. So let's welcome to Jorge,
hello,
Eddie, and Ignacio. Thank you for being here, guys. Welcome. Carlos, thank you so much for being here.
I feel like I'm on the casting couch right now.
All right, okay. Hold the mic whenever you're gonna speak.
What did I sign up for, man?
Hold the mic whenever. The guys in the back, you're gonna.
That escalated quick.
Yep.
Those mimosas, yeah.
We've been drinking so many mimosas. Oh, Happy New Year's, everybody.
Happy New Year's, yeah.
All right. So we're gonna go by one. So let's introduce everybody. So Jorge,
Yes.
Introduce yourself, man.
I'm Jorge with the Retro Exchange in Houston, Texas. So if you're ever in Houston, stop by and say hi.
Yes. Eddie.
I'm Eddie. I'm just a collector. You can follow me on Instagram, Eddie0311 Toys.
Yes. What do you collect, Eddie? Let's before. What do you collect?
I collect, just a little bit of everything. Ninja Turtles, Street Sharks, Mad Balls, Motu, Thundercats.
Mainly vintage.
Yeah, mainly vintage. That's all I do.
Okay. And we go with Ignacio.
Ignacio, a.k.a. Nacho.
Nacho.
Thank you for having me back over here.
What do you collect, brother? What is?
All vintage, mostly all vintage. Motu, TMNT. I got Food Fighters and pretty much everything,
Okay.
Mumesa and everything, all the vintage lines I like to get into.
And you do sell a little bit, right? So you do
I
sell
do a little bit of selling on the side.
on OneNut, right? Mainly? Okay, all right. So now that we've introduced everybody here, and everybody knows Carlos, right? So,
Yeah, everybody knows me.
Yeah. Carlitos
Unfortunately.
with Back in Time, right? So apparently he's chosen a different career now with the
I'm the casting couch guy. I quit my day job.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So, well, for very excited to have you all here. Like I mentioned, it's a little bit of a different kind of like setup. And yeah, today is just like being the new year, being a new me, new.
I'm going to the gym.
Yeah,
Let's go to the gym,
You're
everybody.
going to the gym, yeah. A couple of y'all need it. I need it. Like we all do need it, right? Yeah. But yeah, no, like I feel like before we just jump into the subject, which is mainly, kind of like the purposes of what are your ideas for this new year. I want to kind of just go a little bit more before. Since we already have Jorge in the podcast before, like we had him on the Spanish, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now we have him on English. I just kind of want to go a little bit more deep into each, one of y'all characters or personalities or whatever, just to people to know you. I think Ignacio was on the English one, or was it the Spanish?
Right, it was the English one.
Was it in English? All right. Mm-hmm. So hopefully some of y'all remember him. But yeah,
and now you go back and
tell us a little bit about you, Jorge, for those that don't know you.
Well, I've been collecting for many years. I started collecting when I got out of college, and right around 99, and I started collecting Transformers. That was my thing.
You're more into Transformers, right?
I love Transformers. That's what I grew up with, and I really
saying that you're into Transformers right now. It's a little bit of a tricky.
Well,
what is that?
Well, no, that's all
the
behind us now.
Yeah. With all these new movements,
the
and
woke culture is
a Transformer can be misinterpreted.
But no,
Carlos, it took me a while. Carlos, come on, man. I need you more.
I'm trying to get the inside joke. I'm sorry, guys.
These are toys from the 80s that I
couch. That's why.
Yeah, it's still in the casting couch.
I'm talking about the G1 Transformers from the 80s. Optimus Prime, Megatron. That's what I'm talking
woke
about.
Transformers.
Not the woke.
Nothing against it, but yeah.
No, so that's.
Oh my God, we're gonna get canceled. First show of the year, then.
We're starting off with the bang, you know.
Yeah.
No, so that's where I started, and then from there it kind of grew into looking at other toy lines that I enjoyed in the age, like GI Joe, He-Man, and some of the more I call obscure, like Brave Star, because they weren't as popular back then, but they're very popular now. And so it just grew. I became a hoarder, and I started hoarding collections, and you know, it just grew into a huge hobby. And now many moons later, I can semi-retire and open a shop in the Retro Exchange, and now I have a bunch of back stock and stuff that is for sale and for trade. And we're here to help the collector, you know, complete their collection, whatever their endeavor is, whatever it is that you guys collect. Stop by our shop, and we've got tons of stuff.
You know what's pretty cool is that honestly, within this group, we all actually bond from each other. If you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, not for me because I'm not a reseller. But no, actually, I don't know if you heard the story, but yeah, Eddie got me good, man. Eddie got me good with
Eddie, I've been telling you this. What do you mean, Eddie?
Eddie got me good with the ripster, man. Like he took my baby. You know, when I was in need.
Get the violin out, Eddie.
Take
the violin out.
Smallest violin.
Yeah, there you go.
Talk to the mic.
Oh, smallest violin right here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So no, but yeah, actually, I didn't think about it, but yeah, it's we all are from Houston. Like they say, Jorge and Carlos, they actually have a physical shop. Nacho sells a little bit more from Whatnot.
Online, yeah.
And Eddie just collects.
Eddie
He's
just steals from you. Eddie just steals from you. That's all.
Eddie just steals from everybody.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm just a hoarder.
Yeah. And I can testify about.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
I can testify about Jorge being a hoarder. I've been to his shop.
Oh,
man.
yes.
Yeah, he's got a like I said, like a lot of stock. Yeah, so definitely he can help you out.
Yeah, definitely. Swing by. We have tons of stuff.
Yes.
So anyway, we have a warehouse full of stuff. And we do have a VIP. The VIP is basically to weed out all the non-believers in collecting that just want to play with toys.
Why do you look at Carlos when you said non-believers?
I know.
You look at Carlos like, oh.
Well, no. Carlos became a
Replay.
VIP. He became a VIP within seconds of walking into the shop. He knew exactly what he wanted, and he's a very high-end collector. I mean,
Yeah.
Carlos has got some really nice pieces in his collection. I mean, you do as well. I mean, but Carlos, the first time I met him, I'm not going to disclose what he bought.
I know you have your favorites, you know, like
but he has a good eye for really rare gems.
we all know that. You know, Carlos is a very knowledgeable guy, and you know, I sometimes talk good about Carlos. So he's a very knowledgeable guy.
My ears are getting hot right now. They're talking good about me. That never happened.
It's because you're on the casting couch. That's why.
Yeah. I have to talk to you sweet first. All right, Eddie, how long you been collecting, man?
Oh man, it's probably been like 2 years, 2.5 years maybe. One of the things that, you know, my son's small, so I kind of want to do something together, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, initially I started collecting sneakers, so I was doing a lot of, you know, buying sneakers, you know, and you know, when right around like COVID or a little bit after COVID, things started picking up with sneakers, right? The problem with sneakers is like I would buy a bunch of sneakers and then I would store them in my closet. And then my wife would be like, "What the hell? Why are you taking out the closet spot?" Yeah. By the way, Nancy, I love you. Before she kicks me out, she kicks me out. Yeah, and she burns my sneakers and stuff. No, I'm playing. But so I would get boxes and I'd be excited. But then my son, you know, he's 5 now, but at the time he was 3 and 4, so he would see the shoes like, "Oh, okay, that's cool shoes," but you know, it started kind of like bothering me. I was like, man, like I can't really relate with him. What's going on? So I think one of my first things that I like, because I grew up watching, you know, Thundercats, Motu, and all that stuff. But one of my favorite things when I was growing up was Thundercats. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, I think it'd be cool if I buy the first thing I bought was a Mumra and a Lionel, because those were my go-to. And I remember when they came in, my son was 3 years old. And I remember it came in the mail, and I opened the box with him and I I was so excited. But then I think when he saw the toy, he was excited too. And then I started kind of like role playing, like, hey, you know, making the noises of Mumra, and you know, and I remember going to Mexico back when I was young, and they had the Spanish thing. So the way they would say things sounded way different from English. So I would mimic like the way it sounded in Spanish, and he thought it was like the funniest thing ever. And man, it that really like opened up. That opened up for me everything. And then from that point, it's just like the floodgates opened, and from there, I just start collecting everything.
So you're kind of like me also, like we can call it like new collectors. Like we haven't been in. I think I've been in for like 3 years, almost 3 years and a half, something like that.
Right.
But we went like dip inside of it. I've seen Eddie buying and buying and buying. I'm like, I can relate that.
So you can say that you pretty much started collecting because of bond with your son?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think one of the things is bond because I every time a box comes, even now to this day, I mean he's 5 now, but I started when he was 3 maybe. And every time the box comes in, I get home from work and he runs to the door. He's like, Daddy, we got a box. Like, oh man, yeah, like, oh yeah, you got it.
And then he's like, who is we?
Yeah. Who is we? Since when did you get a job?
Now that you mentioned that you also collect shoes, man. Really quick before we move on to Nacho, what do you think it's easier to spot a fake on the action figures or on the shoes? Because I've heard there's a lot of fakes on the shoes too.
I tell you what, I think it's harder to spot on sneakers, because there are some sneakers out there that they got down like really good on like cloning or like knockoffs or whatever. Back then when you were growing up, when I was young, I came up, my family. There was times we went through some hard times, and the new latest shoes that would come out, and my family couldn't afford it. But I always went to the next thing that was like close to it, which was a knockoff. You typically go to Payless.
Yeah, Payless.
And it was like clearly like a knockoff. And then I remember when they first bought it, I was so excited because I was kind of close to that. But I was growing up, I was naive, I didn't know. And I would go to school, and then kids would make fun of me, and I was like, man, I felt embarrassed, at the time. But like, what? But I didn't, but I felt appreciated also my parents, what they did, So I was like, man, so that's when I knew it was like, okay, there's different things, So now that I'm older, now you see the knockoffs got way better than back then, man.
Oh, yeah.
But if you go to
Payless, Sykes,
like,
We didn't wear Nikes, man. We were
I was gonna say, the kids will make fun of you because instead of Nike, it was like 90 or Psyche or like it was something like that. That was too obvious, man.
I wore a couple of Aigues.
No, it's funny. So like at the time it was I still remember to this day. It was like, so I was, Jordans were up and coming when I was growing up in elementary school, and there was like the Jordan 4s, the Fire Reds, the 4s, yeah. They would come out, and then when they first came out, this was the first time I ever came out, and they came out, and then Payless had them, but it was like, man, you could tell they were like straight up like knockoffs. But they were called XJ 900s, dude. I remember to this day, and it was like, wow. And
but it's crazy that you remember. Like, you
because and then like I remember this guy, like dude had him, like he had him. It's like, oh man, and he came on. You can't tell he was kind of trolling. He was like, hey man, hey Eddie, like you like my sneakers? I was like, yeah man, they're cool, man. And he's like, man, I like your sneakers too. But you kind of tell he was kind of poking fun of me, because I didn't have the OGs. But
now you're some Mike.
Yeah.
Salió donde Eddie. The bad Eddie came out. All right.
Yeah.
So no, that's cool, man. I like that. The reason why you move into toys, to get that bond with your son. Unfortunately, with my daughters, they do like toys, but for some reason and a lot of people ask me like, oh, when they come in, your daughters, they go all crazy about the toys. Like, no, like they don't feel like, I guess, too much, they don't about these toys for some reason. So I don't have that specific bonds with my daughters and collecting. So that's something that I've always.
Let me ask you this, Julie. You think if you had like more of a like a doll. I know you have some dolls, but not dolls for girls.
Unfortunately, the dolls that I have are the most expensive. Like I don't want to share those.
But do you think if you had a couple of vintage Barbies, they would gravitate around that?
Maybe, but I don't know. I'm also, I don't know.
Have you ever? Why don't you test it out and see what happens?
I'll try. I think
2025, guys.
Without
Barbies.
trying to be fun or anything like that. A couple of toys that I like to, probably or at some point, probably get into, like the Care Bears or even
Bears are cool, man.
Yeah,
Care Bears
Care Bears
are
are cool.
cool.
Yeah, I like
yeah,
Care
they're
Bears,
Care Bears, or I feel like those whenever I start getting into those, maybe I can, or My Little Pony. They're also like
Yeah,
very
there's
colorful, very iconic from our time. So maybe I can.
Like I know Rainbow Brights before my time, but I think I told you that I bought me a
Mm.
sealed one, man. It's minty, but I think
clean.
it's nice.
Yeah, but
and,
what-
and I don't
Very
honestly.
flashy.
I'll probably start getting more into those lines to kind of like try to see if I can get that bone with
to
my
me, I just see
daughters.
it as vintage. I don't see it as well, this is for girls.
No,
or
no,
for
no.
boys, so.
Yeah, my wife
Ah,
loves
but-
Rainbow Bright. Yeah.
You say that, but at the same time, let's talk. Hold on, Nacho. Hold on, Nacho. Like, we get it. We got a topic. We got a topic here.
Okay.
So
Let's see.
you can say that, but at the same time, you will always pick like a quote unquote boys toy line over a girl's toy line. Like you said, I see it as vintage, but you will pick like a Motu over a Barbie.
But we're not talking about that. We're not talking
No,
about
I'm
what
talking
we
about
pick.
right now. Like you mentioned, like I see it as vintage, and then
It's vintage, yeah.
you mentioned that you pick up a line, but
But if
you
you,
will,
no, if you're asking me, what would you rather prefer, this or this? Then yeah, I'll say yes. But I wouldn't mind taking this either because it's vintage. But
I know.
Well,
Care
yeah,
Bears.
hold
What
on,
do you think about
you
Care
guys
Bears,
bring
though?
up a great topic because a good point. Me being, I'm 50, but when I grew up with toys, I grew up around the Care Bears, Strawberry Shortcake, She-Ra, and all that. But I didn't gravitate to those. For me, it was like I don't have the nostalgia for those toys.
Yeah.
And even in my shop, I mean, She-Ra has kind of grown into the Motu world because Motu became so big for
Yeah.
collectors.
yeah,
But-
once
but
you finish the line and then you're looking what else can I?
Rainbow Bright, Gem, Barbie.
Gem
I
was
mean,
cool.
I mean, I like the color schemes and all because they're very 80s, nostalgic that way. But I still don't gravitate to collecting those. But that's just me. And but I've ran into the reason I said it's a great point because I've met collectors that gravitate to anything from that era.
Anything
And it's-
vintage.
but
No.
it's- But I think it's more of the era of the 80s that they like that takes them back to walking
Yeah.
into a Toys R Us or into
Yeah.
one of those stores, a toy stores from the 80s where they saw all that stuff. But I think it's a good topic because people like me, I mean, I'm hardcore just the
And me too. As
toy
much
lines
as
that I
as
like.
much as
You're
I
getting
could-
Barbies, whatever.
Look,
You're getting Barbies
for
this
example,
year.
for example, like I didn't grow up with GI Joe, for example, right? So it's probably like a little bit older than my time. So I didn't grow up with that, but knowing or being such an iconic toy line from the time and being like the importance that it had or the impact that it had on the action figure, like switch from before that being called even dolls or not even having actually like figures or dolls for kids, like moving into like or creating this big change. To me, I was like, it's important for me to have something G.I. Joe, right? So it was like, iconic. But I don't feel that about Barbie. Being such an iconic toy line, how much, impact, how much have they sold, how many, like, and I know that I gravitated to Joe's because it's probably a boy's toy. Like, it's funny how we still have that stigma about boys or girls' toys, like, and I know a lot of collectors like it's just vintage. It had like a lot of impact in the toy collectors or in the toy industry. So I want to get at least the most important ones or the iconic ones. Like, but like same thing. As important as Barbie is,
But
I don't gravitate to
it's
those.
almost like what Jorge said. So I have all the stuff that I want, but I'm moving on to something else because I already have this. So what's next? Okay, well I wouldn't mind holding a Rainbow Bright or having some Barbies myself.
Right. Yeah.
Vintage.
And, but what I was saying was, for me, from my point of view as a collector, but as a shop owner, we buy all that stuff.
yeah,
Oh,
you have
yeah,
to,
you have to,
and
you
you
have
have
to.
to
Well,
know
and it's-
about that.
But it's not like I have to buy it. No, we buy it because there is a collector out
Yeah,
there
there's
that
collectors
it is
out there, yeah.
collectible.
Or even I hate to put it like this, but also it's a lot of girls collectors and they will go more towards Barbies, towards My Little Pony, towards like strawberry shortcake, and all of that. So hold on, before we, because we got like we found a topic and we went digging, but hold on. Let me move on to Nacho. Nacho is very like paying attention and all that. He's drinking and he's having fun. It's like it's our spectator.
He's gonna
I
say,
hate Shira.
I hate shit.
Everything I was just
There
talking
you go.
about.
There you go.
You know
Give
what's
it-
funny? I used to
give-
watch Shira when I would get home.
I'm a He-Man woman hater.
Shira
Give him
and,
the-
and He-Man. I would
All right.
watch it, yeah.
All right, so
No
Ignacio,
Shira, no Barbies. That's my He-Man.
introduce yourself, Ignacio. I
he's
know, like
still a newcomer. That's why.
You just did, but like, what do you like? How do you collect? What is your passion? Why do you get into collecting?
I got into collecting more of nostalgia. You know, I just like as a hobby. You know, hunting them down and just displaying them and all that good stuff. You know, it reminds me of when
Yeah.
I was a kid and all that.
How long you been collecting?
Well, I've been collecting on and off ever since I was little, right? So
Yeah.
at 15 years old, I had collected different types of stuff from baseball cards,
Okay.
little Hot Wheels, or stuff like that. Now that I'm older, I'm going back to the nostalgia. Everything that I had, back then started. So it's been about 3 years going hard.
And are you still collecting, baseball cards and like other stuff? Or
Man,
just,
you
you're
know what? I
focusing
don't
right
do the
now on-
baseball cards and comics no more too much.
Okay, so you're
I'll
just
pick up
focusing.
some good comics here and there. If they're graded, I'll pick those up.
Okay, so but you're more into action figures or
Right.
what type of?
Right.
Because it's funny how, and I just mentioned this, and then it's funny how sometimes we feel like we all are into action figures, but not everything that we collect is necessarily action figures. Like, is it Mad Balls considered action figures? Is it like
I think it's still considered a toy, right?
it's toys, right? So, but then I consider myself like an action figure, collector. Yes, a vintage toy, but more of an action figure. Because in the toy collecting, it's a lot of others. Like can the Garbage Pails Kids
Dude,
Yeah,
I used to collect them when I was younger.
are those toys are those toys or just cards or where does that fall in?
I don't think they fall into cards.
Yeah, the card, I think I collect sport. Like
But if
sporting
you
cards
see,
and
it's more like related with the toy community for some reason, right?
Because it's nostalgic. That's why it's vintage.
nostalgia.
Yeah, it's weird. Like when I look at something like that,
That's
it kind of
exactly
like
what I'm talking
flashes
about.
in my head that maybe
Something
I've seen
I'm
it
saying.
somewhere.
What's the difference between that and
yeah, but I think at the end of the day, it's like you're still collecting something.
Mike.
I'm sorry. I think at the end of the day, you're still collecting something, right? Whether it be, shit, you could be collecting rocks, you could be whatever. You're still collecting something.
My pit
It could be
rocks.
cards. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what?
That was the thing
That was
too,
funny you say that. I had when I was in second or third grade, they gave us a box. It was like a shell. It was like my pet rock.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I was like, what? Like, what is this?
I-
And I think from that point, I was like, my brother and I would collect like Garbage Pail Kids cards. We'd collect basketball cards. We'd collect football cards, baseball cards, anything and everything. We were just like, oh, and then amongst our friends, we're like, we'll hype each other up. Like, oh man, you got this card, and we'd trade and we'd do different
Yeah,
things.
I remember that
So that was whole part of the thing. And then after the cards, it was like the Pogs, and then after the Pogs, it was like something. But I think you go back, probably hundreds of years, people collected something always, all the time.
Yeah.
It just anything they're like, oh, and they'll have like a display of something.
Will you, Nacho? We go back to Nacho. Would you try to hold it from the mic? Yeah. Would you just picking up on the subject that we were talking about? Like, would you ever pick gross toys? Like Barbies or stuff like that.
No.
Like
No.
plain and
I
simple.
mean, I tried so hard to try to get into like She-Ra, just because it relates to like Motu, but I can't do it.
Perfect example. Yeah, that's
can't do it.
That'll be the more or the most justifiable.
I mean, I like
I like if you're
Let me
like
ask
trying
you-
to
let me-
play.
Hold on, Ignacio. How many years have you been collecting hard?
probably the past 3.
Once you get into collecting for a good while, man, you start looking at other
I
things.
don't hate on it or anything like that.
I don't
Pero
hate on it
not
either,
for
bro.
me.
No, because what I'm saying is, like, everybody has their levels. We always talked about levels of years of collecting or how much how bad how much you got into collecting.
So you're saying you're a higher level than Ignacio? No, I'm just kidding.
What I'm saying is, I already have pretty much the lines that I want, and I'm looking at other things that I never had. Like I said, I have a couple of Barbies, but vintage Barbies, and I have some Rainbow Brights. I had Care Bears. I did sell those, but
I like the Care Bears. I like
I
the Care Bears, Smurfs,
Well,
stuff like that.
don't
But I'll
forget,
choose
guys,
an Evil Lynn over She-Ra.
One of the things that you guys
Mike.
said, one of the things you guys have said on your podcast before is there's no right or wrong way to collect.
No, I'm not saying yeah.
So your point, I mean, yeah, you there's different phases, different types
Yeah,
of collectors.
different,
So there's no need to
Mike.
try to justify to justify how you collect because there is no right or wrong way.
Yeah.
I know if we're gonna go.
Boo this
if-
man.
if we
Boo
go-
this
Nah. You'll be hypocrites. You'll be hypocrites if you just say that it's only me.
It's only you.
I can go right now to your Instagram. And the post that you post about your PC, I've never seen a Barbie. Like I've seen some She-Ra maybe,
As a matter of fact, even when I did one nuts, I had a Barbie right there.
but yeah,
One
for
Nuts.
sale.
No, it wasn't for sale. It was there for show.
Gay. No, I'm just kidding.
Boo this man. Boo this man.
We're gonna get canceled. All right, we'll see you on the Spanish. We'll see you on the Spanish. I think this is a bad idea. No.
Keep trying to make a point. Keep trying to make a point.
No. But y'all be okay. I know for a fact that Carlos do collect some so-called, and I always have to make the quotes saying like I know that Carlos collects the so-called girls toy lines, but
Well, Yuli, I don't mean to call you out, but what is that right there in that corner?
well, that's for kids.
Okay.
That's for little kids.
I thought it was strawberry shortcake, but what is
No,
that?
that's not. No, that's
Ewoks.
it's not.
Ewoks.
Yeah, it's the Ewoks.
He goes,
Yeah, I said when he said like, oh shit, what I have here?
I forgot about
I forgot about that. Let me find it. Shit.
I wasn't trying to call you out, but my point is
I wasn't trying to call you out.
he did call you out.
there's going to be some every
Like,
now
¿cómo
and
se dice en
then.
inglés? Tragué saliva. I was like,
I think sometimes there's going to be some close cross pollination.
Yeah.
Like
No.
you're saying She-Ra, even Jem and the Rockers, they try to make it this rock and roll kind of thing for the
Yeah.
80s with the glam rock thing. But if you were a headbanger, you didn't listen to this.
no. I have a couple of dolls like Dragon Ball. That Bulma doll is literally like looks like a girl's doll. But it's one of Arale can be seen as a girl's toy line, but I do like the art from.
So what? Let me ask you, what would be the difference between that and Rainbow Bright? Or
No.
Strawberry Shortcake.
I don't think there's a huge difference, but like for example, like I have it in my head about Care Bears, right? I feel like you got introduced to Care Bears, or it's a show for kids like 3-year-olds to 4 to 5-year-olds, like the Care Bears. I remember like when we were little.
Yeah, I remember
Care
watching
Bears.
when I was little.
So when you're in that age, you don't care about playing with, like honestly, with the Barbie or with an action figure. Maybe Eddie has.
Nah, I think because when I was growing up, I might have been in 3rd grade. I used to watch Care Bears, man. That was my go-to.
Well,
there were
but-
certain movies that Care Bears came out with movies and stuff like that at the time.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not saying necessarily like kindergarten or whatever, but like you probably 2nd, 3rd grade. But there's a point where like you can still share that, or you have that that
Connection.
connection with
yeah.
you don't necessarily
Yeah.
separate girls from boys. And that you can see it on that on Care Bears. I remember watching Care Bears and My Little Pony when I was like that little. You don't see that the difference. That's why now that I'm grown up and collecting, those are the lines that I might think probably I wouldn't get into Strawberry.
I don't know.
Rosita Fresita.
Strawberry Shortcake, yeah.
When I was growing up, and we just didn't watch those. I mean, for us, we had better selections, and you probably had. We had Voltron, we had Transformers, we had He-Man, we had so many
Probably,
other things.
yeah, you're a little bit low.
I mean, the only
probably
time-
I don't want to
Yeah,
call you out.
you're spoiled.
I don't want to call you out, but a little bit. You're a little bit older than us. Yeah.
The only reason we used to watch the girl shows were because our babysitter would make us watch them because we only had one TV and that's all we had to watch.
And no,
So we're
but that's
stuck
what I'm
watching
That's what I'm
Jem
saying.
and
On those times,
She-Ra.
you didn't have a lot of options to like cartoons for girls. I don't remember like.
But look,
Well,
but
they
even-
had a bunch of stuff.
What
but
will be the girls shows of your era?
She-Ra, Rainbow Bright,
Rainbow
Jem,
Bright, yeah,
Gummy Bears, Smurfs.
Gummy Bears.
Gummy Bears.
Gummy Bears was a cool show.
Smurfs, I think it's still like
no,
till this day.
I
I
get
think
it.
it's a perfect mix for.
But but one of the main characters in Smurfs was Smurfette. So
Yeah.
I think that was the push for the.
That's a lot of. There's a lot of
One female-
controversy about. There's a lot of controversy about that.
But you also
Being
had.
the only. like,
So I mean,
Well,
there
she was
was
happy
plenty
all
of
the time.
TV shows for girls to watch. That
But-
boys didn't want to watch.
But don't you think that nowadays, now that we're adults, we because back then you really couldn't be like, you're hanging out with boys, you're like, I'd rather watch Rainbow Bright, and these guys are gonna be watching.
but that's
Oh,
exactly
man,
what I'm.
you-
That's
you-
what. That's
because
exactly what I'm
you're
talking about.
ridiculed. You can,
Oh yeah, I mean,
But that's what I'm talking about. There's a
that
certain
we're-
age
yeah,
when
but
that starts to
no, but
happen.
that's it,
But
but now
before
when
that, you share the common.
But what I'm
like,
saying, when you're
likes.
adults, when you're
Well-
adults now, like right now that we can actually
Well, now you
connect.
don't care,
Well,
right?
now,
Yeah.
in
you
hindsight,
don't
yes,
care what-
but
what-
when we
what they
were
claim.
living in that era, I don't remember going to school and saying, "Oh, dude, you captured that last episode of Rainbow Bright." No, we didn't do
exactly.
that. It was
Yeah.
like if you did that, it's like
You get cooked.
you weren't normal. That was fun. That was not normal. But we wanted to talk about Voltron. We wanted to
Yep.
talk about the 18.
But it was cool. That's why, because that's
G.I.
what we
Joe.
did. Because if you ask me
Yeah.
what's my preference, I would
Right,
rather
yeah.
watch that. I'm not gonna go and watch Rainbow Bright. If Transformers on and Rainbow Bright, I'm gonna watch Transformers.
But then again, guys,
Exact-
But hold on, this is generational because when I was growing up,
Yeah.
and let's just say there was a 2-part episode, and guess what? Your parents wanted to go to the grocery store the next day, so you know what? You didn't catch that episode. You were screwed.
Yeah.
There wasn't like, let me go back on YouTube and watch
No,
it.
yeah,
Or,
yeah.
No, you had to go
Netflix
to
or whatever.
school the next day, and everybody who watched it would throw it in your face, and either
Yeah.
you stayed up at 3 a.m. when it was going to play back again, and never again. So you were screwed. Now
Yeah.
everything now is where you want to watch it. So people who I come into my store that are young, they'll say, "Oh man, we just binge watched the whole series of Thundercats, and then now we're looking at 2, and then we also watched Care Bears." And it's like, whoa, that's cool, But back in the day, you had no
wasn't
time
like that.
to do that.
Yeah.
You had to either choose this or that. And so for
and
boys,
I think that's now that I think we're feeling slowly we're moving into another subject, and that's something really cool that you bring up about the newer generations and the older, and I think that plays a really important factor on why the nostalgia on these toys and all that we have, because it was more difficult for us to catch up an episode, and we will have to wait a week sometimes for Caballeros del Zodiaco. I remember the Saint Seiya. I remember in Mexico, we'll have to wait. They only put them on Saturdays, and then you will get to almost to the climax of the season, and then they'll just start restart it over. I'm like, oh man, and then you have to wait again, and so that kind of created a more intense.
I think that's how Dragon Ball was.
Dragon Ball 2,
Oh my gosh,
they
Dragon Ball.
did that for a lot of the I guess Japanese series or whatever.
They had you.
But also like you said, if you missed it, you missed it, and then
dude, and
have
especially
to
if it was
wait.
a great cliffhanger and you were looking
Yeah.
for it.
yeah,
Oh, that was the
Dude.
worst feeling.
Dude.
You're sitting like, no.
exactly. But I feel like that makes you want it a little bit more, or a lot more in those years, and I feel like that just kind of like made an impact, like a bigger impact in our childhood, that now we want it so bad, or we kind of we're trying to relate or to go back to those times.
Let me
to
give
the
you an
different
example.
and we were talking about just real quick because on the difference on the newer generations, we were talking about what will be the collecting stuff for this generation. I don't know, 'cause they get everything, they move on to the next really
they're
quick.
quicker.
I don't know if they can
more
get
fast paced.
One interesting thing that I've learned at the shop is, we get, 15-year-olds, 10-year-olds to 15-year-olds buying cassettes. They love the Walkmans. We sell Walkmans, right? And I always ask them, or CDs, even they love buying CDs. And I'm like, so why are you buying a CD when you can just go YouTube or one of the streaming services to listen to it? And said, well, because I know that if I'm listening to this cassette or this CD, it's me. No one else is listening to this version but me. And if I go on a streaming service, I feel like there's so many. It tells you, 15 other people are listening to this song right now, and they just want to have ownership, something tangible,
And that's pretty cool.
It's them at that moment. It's their own their own unique experience.
That's pretty cool.
Which I think is pretty cool.
when we have the newer generations going after the stuff that we are going to or that we went through, but also how many of them, right? So I'm talking about this generation, what will be their collecting in their future.
So the second part of my point was, so what I kind of relate to that, because when we were kids, and let's just say Charlie Brown Christmas was coming out, I remember it's like, oh, it's gonna be on at 7 on Thursday. Every kid that you knew at school was gonna be home at 7 because they were gonna watch. They weren't gonna miss it or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Now it's so desensitized with it being so available that it's like, I can watch it later. I can just download it later, and so I think it's lost kind of its meaning. So I think that's why I think when
lost
the
the
kids
grip-
buy the
grip.
CDs
Yeah.
and the cassettes, it's like, oh, this is me. This is mine. This is it's their own experience that they're it's
looking
unique
for.
to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's it's got some
Yeah.
value. Same with our toys. You know, when I own a He-Man or my Optimus, or I have those memories that are locked into that from when I was a kid playing with them and stuff like that. And not so much for Rainbow Bright or Barbie because I didn't grow up with that. So for me, it's nostalgic as a collector, but as a shop owner, I know there's value there because there's someone else who really likes the nostalgia of it or also has those fond memories with it. So anyway, that's how I
Yeah.
get that back in.
No, no, definitely. And
Let me,
Eddie,
hold on, let me ask Nacho a question. Nacho, would you collect something like that at Areli's?
Arale,
Um,
do you know
no,
what Arale
No,
is?
I don't know nothing about it. Mm-mm.
Okay. So,
No, because I mean, no, I mean,
what will be the closest to a girl's toy line you will collect? Like you say that you watch Care Bears, or
Would you collect Care Bears?
I'll collect Care Bears. Yeah.
Gay? Nah, I'm just kidding.
You see, I won't tell anybody. You see that?
I was just waiting for that.
Back in the day, you ain't gonna let nobody. I mean, you thought
we
wearing
got him
the
good this
bootleg
time, we
shoes
got
is
him
bad.
good.
Wait till you find out you went free.
He stepped into that one.
No, but
Here we go.
no, I think Care
Okay,
Bears.
my question's done.
My question- yeah. All right, that's all I wanted.
That's all I wanted.
No, but I think Care Bears, is something that I will collect.
I like Care Bears. They got the things on their belly, little
Yeah,
power coming out of it.
Probably My Little Pony too. I feel like those were the cartoons that I was watching when I was still little, and I didn't have. And honestly, I feel like it's. I don't want to sound too newer. I know where Carlos was laughing, but I think it's a bad thing. When you start like separating, or segregating. I don't know how it's called. Like where you just for girls and for boys. Because. A sure thing, you said you didn't want you will never say, oh, you catch the episode of back of She-Ra or whatever. Like no, like you just, Eddie, you only have a son or you have a daughter too?
No, I just have one son. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's 5. So.
All right, so you wouldn't think of collecting anything.
Yeah, so like my wife loves Rainbow Bright. So
That's cool. Yeah.
So last time, actually, matter of fact, last time when I was in Vegas and when I bought the Muscle Mutt.
Yeah, the Muppet.
And there was a thing there that there was like one of the characters of Rainbow Bright. And I saw it and I got it just because my wife likes Rainbow Bright. But me, I don't mind like Care Bears. I think for me, I think Rainbow Bright looks cool just because of the colors and stuff like that. Also, Care Bears, Smurfs, Barbies. I'm not I respect people that collect Barbies, but if something doesn't catch my eye. But Rainbow Bright, I wouldn't mind collecting Rainbow Bright or Smurfs or Care Bears.
I think
But,
Smurfs,
wait,
Care
but
Bears.
there's one thing very important we're forgetting.
Yeah.
It's one thing to collect, and it's quite another to play. So would you play with Barbies or would you collect Barbies? I mean,
You're gonna end up.
Yeah.
You're gonna end up if you collect no. If you collect your toys, for me, if I'm gonna put them on display, just display them.
You wanna
To
dress
me,
up
that
like them,
counts
right?
as playing. Like, I don't necessarily play with my toys.
Yeah, that's how it starts. Next thing you know, you're
But I feel
dressing
like
up
it
like
counts
them.
whenever you're setting up.
wearing
whenever you're setting
dresses
up,
and
I
stuff,
count that as a play. So if
Or
you're
just
buying
playing.
Barbies. What if it comes with the clothes separate? Like you have to dress it up. Like,
That's what I say.
come down.
Start dressing up like
It's
them.
gonna come down to that, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
That's the all right.
Well, I thought that would be an interesting point, but not that I would do it because I would never play with Barbies. But you're right. You bring up a great point with you're setting them up, you're displaying them, or
If they come with the accessories and you want to you have to dress them up, and then you find yourself
as
dressing
soon
up
as,
Barbie.
if you're a purist, as soon as you say
Oh, yeah, she
those
does
aren't
come with
the
a
right
Corvette,
shoes
though.
to Barbie,
Those are the that color doesn't match. That doesn't-
you collect Barbie.
Yeah. Eddie, you brought a point like that I think in the whole podcast I've overlooked, just because my wife, even though she's super supportive
Yeah.
with my collect or what I collect, she wants or have, she doesn't want to have
Nothing
not
to
to
do.
do with it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right. But it's pretty cool that in a way, I don't know if your wives to, start collecting with y'all. What about y'all's?
No,
Eddie?
my wife wants nothing to do with anything toy wise. And I have a daughter and I have a son. And my son at the beginning was really into the Transformers, and because I was, he was a kid. But as he grew up, I grew out of it, and he's more into collecting other things. Got into collecting guns and whatnot with me. That's something we share.
I know you
but
both
it's-
are musicians as well.
But yeah, and, I collect guitars, and he's a drummer.
drummer.
So we play music together. That's fun. That's one of the things that I really enjoy doing with my son. Maybe not so much, putting things together or playing with stuff, but just being able to enjoy a few minutes of learning a song together or jamming and feeling like rock stars in our own world and in our warehouse. It's just a great feeling. It's
but
hard to
not with
top
your
it.
wife. Your wife has nothing to do.
No.
What about your partner, Carlos?
No,
She doesn't collect or
Nothing.
interested.
no. I
In
mean, like I
collecting?
said, I just pretty much.
Has she ever gravitated into it? Even though she doesn't collect, does she likes any specific toy line? Or like, oh, that's
No,
pretty
I
cool.
mean, no, because we never really talk about it.
No,
We
she
never
doesn't,
talk
yeah.
about it. No, yeah, it's just I just do
Yeah,
my
it's like
thing.
just like me. I get so excited and I want to show her, and I think she comes and said just out of petty, like, I want to show her. I'm
But
like,
just
oh,
to
yeah.
clarify, my wife doesn't collect.
But
The
she
stuff
just-
that I bought is because she liked it, and I bought it because I wanted for her to see it and like, hey, look, you like this stuff.
Oh, okay,
but
so this is-
she's not like, hey, I want you to go buy me this. It's
But
just
honestly, you're the closest to have a collector wife.
but-
From all of us, you're the closer to.
But she at least like when you give it to her, she at least displays it. What she does with it. What
Well,
she
no,
do with
no,
it.
she doesn't display. She didn't get like I'll put it around
Eddie
my
is like,
stuff,
no, that
and then
shit's
hey,
mine.
look, this is no, I don't say it's mine, but like she. It's not like she's like, oh, I want you to go buy me this. But if I buy
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
she's like, oh, it's cool, whatever. But
Brings her
that's
back
it.
memories.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're probably right. But she's not like, oh, I want you to go buy me this, or I need this, or whatever.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
but if I have it, the reason I feel is like if you buy something for somebody, and say you display in your collection, say your son, or whatever, and like, oh my god, I remember that. I feel like in my mind, I'm thinking it's gonna spark something inside of them, like, oh, what's the next thing? Let's go buy something else. For her, it's like, oh, she likes it and everything's cool, but she's not like, all right, let's go look for the next thing. you know?
But at the same time, you can also have a reaction where they might even say, "Why'd you buy that? It's cool, but why'd you buy? Why'd you waste money on that?" So they
Yeah,
could give you that
yeah,
reaction.
yeah,
too.
it could give you that
so
reaction,
that's a good
too.
reaction. She at least says that's cool.
yeah.
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 What about you, Nacho? Your wife, just what does she thinks about what you do, or does she
Watch
collect?
what you
She-
say,
she-
Nacho.
she-
Watch what you say. Watch what
You
you
gotta
say.
go home tonight.
I mean, she supports me. She talks to me. She listens when I talk to her about different pieces, and I start talking to her about it. Watching the podcast, she watches it with me, and she listens. I did buy her Rainbow Bright too, and I think I got her that Miss Pac-Man from U-Graded, put in her office and stuff like that.
Nice.
So she'll be looking on Facebook. There's groups on there, and she'll be asking me, do you have
Oh, wow.
these pieces,
Okay, cool.
stuff like that.
All right.
So she supports. She don't like the money I spend. I don't tell her.
Well, you're telling
I
her
don't go
that
into
right now.
specifics.
I'm not
right
going
now,
into
you-
specifics, but
I was gonna say, watch
I mean,
what
she
you
already
say.
knows. And the first
All right, so
question
that's
that comes
cool.
out, how much was that?
All right, Eddie, take the mic away. He's saying too much. He's saying too much.
He said, put that down, put down the beer, man.
It
You're
is
saying
what
too
it
much.
is.
No, that's cool. I feel like like I love the fact that my wife supports everything that I do with the collection and all that. She's sometimes like frowns up a little bit like how much I'm spending and all that, but it's just at the end of the day she's okay, so it's cool. But she's never been I think the closest that she can be interested in, and it's super far, but the closest it'll be the TMNT.
Oh wow.
Cause she
Nice.
said that she liked the movie when first came out. Cause her brother will watch the movie over and over, and
Okay.
she remembers that for some reason. She likes.
Have you ever watched the movie with her?
She likes the movie. We had one time we were like, all right.
cool.
Well, after she told me, I was like, I didn't know you liked it that much. So we played it, and she was like, oh yeah, I remember. And then she likes the movie. So I feel like that'll be the closer. But it's just the movie. She doesn't need not the
but,
cartoons
it's
or anything like that.
something, It's just funny how we get excited over something. It's something small, but it's something big.
Yeah. So I think that'll be probably the closest to it, but not really like I cannot think of anything that she'll say, oh, I want to collect this. She likes her shoes and stuff like that, clothes, and she said that she's not a collector, but she definitely has a lot of shoes. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know if she's a shoe like
Hoarder?
closet collector or whatever. I don't know how you call it, but yeah, no, it's just, oh, man.
You know, one thing I do see a lot that reminds me a lot of me when I was dating my wife. At shows, when we do shows, I'll see couples, or you can tell they're dating, and he's either he or her are the ones who are collecting, and the other person is just there for support. But you can kind of tell they're doing it just because they love this person. And I know what's going to happen once they get married. She'll just fall out, or he'll fall out, and that's it. You're on your own.
Yeah,
And
no, that's exactly what happened.
my wife at the time I used to drag her to all the,
All the
flea
shows.
markets, the thrift shops, and I take the scenic routes when we traveled somewhere just to run into that obscure thrift shop in the middle of nowhere in the hopes that you'd find something, or that weird garage sale in the middle of nowhere.
Like, where are you taking
it's
me?
like, yeah, it's like
She thought you were taking her to somewhere like, oh, this
romantic,
is
but
we're gonna fool around like, oh,
you're
shit,
digging.
Like, you're digging something else, man. No, I feel like that happened to me, but since I got into collecting, after I was, I was married already, so yeah, she went out with me for a couple of shows, and I'm gonna say a couple, and that's probably like a lot. She went out probably one show and one toy hunting, and after that she's like, God bless you.
You're on your own.
Go. You have my blessing. May the Lord be with you. Have fun with it, right? So I'll do you. I'll do. But it's fun because whenever I go shopping with her, I used to go shopping with her because she's like, don't go with me anymore. Because as much as I want to, like, all right, I'll try to be interested in what she's buying. Right? So like clothes or whatever. Like, I know I'm making a face, or I'm like, whatever. I'm like impatient about it, and like she's like, I hate that because I don't want you to be, putting pressure on me.
Yeah.
And I never understood that until she went with me to Toshi. I was like, oh, she wants to go, and I want to stay for longer. I'm like, yeah, no, that's fine, honey. It's better if we part ways. I go to the toy show, you stay at home, and whenever you go shopping, I'll stay at home.
I'll share a story with you guys. When I was a dealer at BotCon, one of the requirements was that your tables had to be 85% Transformers,
yeah.
But it never specified that it needed to be toys, right? So I quickly identified that, hey, man, these guys are coming in here with their significant others that, they're bored to their, at their wits, and they don't want to be there. So one year I went out to Harwood and I bought all this jewelry. And part of my booth was Transformers, and then all this women jewelry. And all the other dealers were like, what the hell is wrong with Jorge? The hell, dude? This is a Transformer convention, and they made fun of me, dude. It's like, does it transform?
I bet you were like, who's laughing now? Counting your money,
dude,
right?
I gotta tell you, everybody, all the wives, the girlfriends, the grandmas, the moms, they were. You want to buy something? Go to that table. So they'd come to my table, and dude,
That's smart. You got.
we made a killing that year.
He's got a shark mind, man.
To that point, knowing that some of these people come to the show and they're not interested in that, so I went the opposite direction, and it worked out. So
Yeah, I mean,
I think
I had the last laugh.
Think outside the box.
I got the last laugh,
That's
yeah.
a good idea. Yeah.
So for you guys that been probably like me, Eddie and Ignacio, like we have like probably shorter time into this hobby. Do you think you guys somehow are addicted to it? Like it's something that you say, oh, I can easily control it, or no, I'm really just like I can't control myself. Because somebody, I don't want to call anybody out, but somebody just watched a toy here, and he went in eBay and bought it. So I don't want to call anybody out, but like, would you say something that like, hey, no, okay, it's just for the fun of it?
That's called a narc.
So do you guys think that you can be addicted? Do you think you're like addicted to it, or just like, oh no, just for the fun of it?
I think it's fun of it. I think it's like, depending on what it is.
You can quit whenever you want.
I would say quit, but also it's not one of those things where you're in the corner scratching yourself. Like I need this, like I think it's with limitations, right?
There you go.
I think
Yep.
you still have responsibilities in your house, and you got to take care of what you have to take care of, whatever. But along the way, if if you work really hard and to get where you're at, for you and your family, provide for your family, and if there's room there for your hobby, I think why not? You know what I'm saying? Same thing with when I told my wife, like, hey, you know what, I might have spent here and this, but when she asked me, it's like, hey, let's go do this, or let's go spend money on this. I'm not gonna be like, oh, why are we gonna spend money on this? And when I'm like spending money over here, so it was like, I think everything goes with in par with what's
Yeah.
going on. Another thing is
With
it's like,
balance.
balance it. You gotta balance that out. So like, if you're sitting there and you're spending your mortgage money or your
Oh,
your
sure,
bills
yeah.
money, and you're like, oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, and it's like, then you have a problem. That addiction turns sour really fast, because next thing you know is like, you're like a junkie, right? You're
See,
trying to
Carlos,
look for your
you
next
see?
high, your next.
But see, he's talking about the bad side of addiction. But if you're actually collecting, you're happy, and you can say you're addicted to collecting because you say you don't see a problem with it, but you're happy when you're getting your figures, right? But everything's paid off.
Correct. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He's talking about addiction. There's different ways of
Yeah.
addiction.
That's what-
I see it- I see it a
Thank
little
you,
bit
Eddie.
different.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
see it a
There's
little bit
different
different
ways.
because-
Yeah, okay.
And honestly, to me, it's a great point because I use it all the time. As long as my mortgage is paid, bills are paid, food is on the table,
Yeah.
my daughters are taken care of. They have shoes, they have a roof over
Mimi
their
has
heads.
food in her bowl.
But at the same time, I don't think that's a justification because a rich guy can do all of that and still be a drunk or still be
Well,
a.
it's like one of my customers said. Well, even if I was addicted, it's either this or cocaine. What would it be?
Right.
Which one is it?
Pick your poison.
So okay,
You know, you pick
so what was
Plastic. The plastic is my poison.
bad, and
Pick your
is
poison,
collecting
yeah.
bad too? Then or no?
What is it?
If it's uncontrolled, like the addiction
Yeah.
to cocaine, yes.
Yeah.
I would say yes. In my book,
But
it
I,
is.
but I think addiction, like you said, like when you go into the extreme where you're hurting like the
When you're not being responsible, that's
exactly
that's
yeah,
bad.
irresponsibility.
Yeah.
Whether it be like drugs, alcohol,
Yeah.
whatever the case is.
Yeah.
If you go to the extreme, it's bad, no matter what.
Yeah, we're always going back to the same point. Like,
Yeah.
then let's define addiction, which we're not going to do it right
Addiction,
now.
yeah.
But yeah, at what point does it become an addiction, right? So whenever you become irresponsible, or whenever you just like uncontrollable about
Yeah,
it,
but-
like
But okay, I see it as like people who religiously watch sports. I'm not a sports guy, but I have friends that, dude, they can't go without watching their home team play a football game. Is it an addiction? I think it's an addiction because they stop doing other things that are going around that
stop
time
going
slot.
out with their family to stay with their.
because
Yeah.
they make that into their family thing, and maybe the kids don't want to watch football. Maybe the wife's not into football, but to them it's.
Well, you get a new family then.
You know, well, exactly.
Problem solved.
Problem solved. Easily solved.
problem solved.
See,
Problem
there you go.
solved.
But that's what I'm saying.
We're gonna open up a new. Kayla's over there taking notes. We're gonna open up a new section about
Anything could
Carlos
be
giving
an
advice.
addiction.
Guys, I quit my day job. Just letting you know, guys.
So Carlos so far is like pick a new family and addictions are good. So there you go. Those are the two.
I should start making my own fortune cookies.
Yeah. You're gonna start writing your own fortune cookies. Yeah. Those are great advices, Carlos. Thank you for coming. What about you, Nacho? You can is it an addiction or not only to you but like do you think it can become an addiction?
At first, it seems like an addiction. At first, you just want to start buying everything. You want to swipe. You want to buy. You want the package to come to your house and open it and all that good stuff. But I'm at the point now where I'm, especially right now, controlling what I buy. I'm more selective now what I want to get.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna spend my money on some other regular figure. I'd rather go after the more higher end figures now.
I think that's what we're talking about, going through phases. You're starting to understand because someone like Yuli, when he first started, he was just
Everything.
crazy.
Hoarding.
One thing you see one shelf, and then all of a sudden next week you see the whole 5 shelves stacked with figures. I mean, you just get you start understanding a little bit more and more, and especially knowing that this hobby can't get as expensive.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Can't get
And
expensive.
I think one of the benchmarks, I guess you can call it like that, it's whenever you start letting things go. I think when you start collecting, you just start grabbing and just getting everything. Like you start like just like getting like big and big and big and big and like
Eddie, you're not there yet with that, right?
Eddie has to be there.
Gotten there yet.
But I like
I haven't got there yet where I'm like ready to let go. And people hit me up like, hey man, you want to sell this? I was like, no.
yeah,
And they're like, hey, you want to sell this? Like, no. Like, why would I sell this? Like, or somebody's like, hey man, you want to sell this? Like, you got 4. So yeah, but I want 4 of them.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't want to sell them.
I was like that, and
But
people,
I haven't got to that point where Yuli, like, say, and I remember talking to Carl, like, oh yeah, Yuli's like, like really, like, man, that's cool. And then but he would say like, yeah, you know what, Yuli is not ready to let go. And then like recently when I start seeing you like Charlie and things, I was like, oh, maybe he's on the next phase. I haven't got there yet.
No. Yeah, and I remember a couple of conversations that I had even within the podcast, and I love the fact that we've been recording, the podcast, and one of the purpose of
It's almost
this
like
podcast,
a timeline, believe it or not.
Yeah, for me, I started the podcast for the same reason I started my Instagram. It was just to kind of like, yes, it's cool to come up with something that y'all can watch and everything, but for me, it's a journal for me. So, and I can look back, and I remember those shows when people will tell me like, you get to that point where you're still gonna, otherwise you're gonna explode, right? So you have to start letting go. And I'm like, nah, hell no. I had, all the undercovers, Carter and Luz, and all this Shogun, and all this Carter and Luz. And I'm like, I like Eddie said, I want two. I want one of each, there was a point where like, no, I feel like now I'm like, I can let go, right? So, and when, curious enough, like, a lot of people start thinking, this guy is, it's just quitting. It's just letting everything go. And I'm like, no, just look back at the rest of the cave. And this shot right here, the wide shot, wide angle, you can show you, like, no, I'm not quitting. It's just like, I'm moving things over, like to let other things come in.
Yeah.
So
transitioning to Barbies.
yeah, I probably will. I probably will at some point.
2025.
Yes. But I definitely like, it's something that like I feel like it's a benchmark, and I don't know if Eddie will ever hit it. I hope he does and sells me back my Ripster.
He says mine.
My Ripster. It's still mine. It's still mine.
Bro, I got pieces that high-end pieces. There are four of them, and I can't let them go.
Yeah.
I have one Ripster. I ain't letting that thing go, man.
No. God dang it. Anyways, all right. Let's finish this podcast. I invited Eddie just try to kind of like sweat him out.
Guys, this whole podcast was for Yuli to try to cry to get the Ripster back. And
try to cry about it.
it didn't work, guys.
No, man. Hey, that was your mistake. You should never sold it.
Still rubbing it on my face. I know it was my mistake, but
If
anyway.
you're trying to make me feel bad, it doesn't make me feel bad.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that.
work, man. Actually, I feel happy about it.
You son of a bitch. No, okay. Nah, we're all good.
Hey, wait a minute, man. When I brought that muscle mud, that puppet, you didn't have the same energy,
appreciate
did you?
that.
You didn't have the same energy. You weren't like, like, hey, what the hell, Eddie?
I had the same energy when you pulled that prank. He called me up saying that he wanted to keep a piece.
This was the guy, right?
No. He purchased, he called me out. He calls me, out of nowhere, like, hey, man, he knows like I'm a big, muscle mud collectors, and like there's a few pieces like, like the hand puppets and the cats, and like those are the nevers. You rarely see them, if any. There's a few pieces out there that there's very rare. And then he says, I found this one, man, and then he could have easily bought it for him, right? So he did me a huge, favor. I'm gonna admit that, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, man, that's cool. I'll buy it, I'll get it. Just buy it and I'll pay for you. So he buys it, and I'm like, where do I sell you the money? Like, I wanted to. Now I sell you, I PayPal you, a Venmo. I'm like, no, chill. I'll pay. Like, just, I'm with my family. I'll let you know later. And then how do I send him? Oh, chill. Don't worry about it, man. And I'm like, all right, he's just been a good fella. I know he's not in a rush to get the money or whatever. And then after he comes back to Houston, he brings, and my great friend right here, Carlos, comes up with the idea to tell Eddie, like, hey, man, you should tell him that you wanted to keep the puppet. I'm like, and then Eddie, he did what he
as he was told.
He thought it was a great idea. And I don't know if I can tell you. I don't think I can express how much I wanted that piece. And like, that's why I wanted to, even though it's a friend and all that, I wanted to send him the money, like seal the deal. And then Eddie calls me out like, hey, you know what? He texted me, hey, you know what, man? I feel like I want to keep the muscle more. Like, shit, man. No, please don't tell me that, man. And I even put like, oh, ha, ha, ha. And then he's joking, whatever. And they were like, no,
He's
man.
crying. He's like,
I'm like, yeah, I know, you know, it's a prank, you know, yeah. What do I give you in the morning? Like, nah, man, for real, I want to like, oh shit, man, and I called him and he doesn't answer. Little did I know they were like this two motherfuckers were like, hey man, he's calling me, like don't answer, like I was dying, man. Here I'm like,
What are friends for?
and then he replies to me and he answers to me like, and he keeps with the prank like yeah, no, man, you know, just I feel like I wanted to keep it, man. You know, I like it. You know, I've never seen it. Like, oh shit. I will never ever see this piece again, you know, especially if he goes into his collection, he's not gonna let it go. You know, I know Eddie. And later on, I feel like it was like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, but for me it was the longest of the time. Like it was like an eternity. And like, nah, man, I'm playing with you. I'm like, oh, motherfucker, don't do this to me, man. Don't do this to me, man. God, and then later he told me like, yeah, Carlos told me, oh, pinche Carlos. But yeah, no, you did me a solid right there. I appreciate that.
But no, man, so like, you know, when the Ripster stuff, like, you know, and I knew you were looking for that line, and when I went out there, like, honestly, I had never seen like something boxed up like, or the puppet in general, just out in the wild, right? Like, go to a shop and somebody has it, like, what the hell? And I was like, saying, I texted Carlos, like, hey, bro, like, you know, this is going on, and then you know, and then my wife was like, she's getting upset, like, what are you doing? You came out here to do this? I'm like, oh, here we go. So, you know, my wife and I had a little disagreement. We're out there, whatever. And like, yeah, I'm already here. And then, you know, and I ended up buying it, right? Like, hey, and I took it back or whatever. And you know, I brought it back to you, whatever. But at the time, it was
it
like.
went that smooth. He just bought it and brought it back to you.
Yeah.
So the story you just
without
said,
any story in the middle.
The
Like,
story just happened.
Well, I don't want to elaborate because, you know, my wife was still mad about this.
Yeah, okay.
But,
No,
but, you know, at the end of the day, I think, like, you know, when I saw it, I remember that you were collecting on. And I had never seen it. And I, for a minute there, I was like, man, I don't know if this is like legit, right? Because I had never seen it. And that's why I texted Carlos, like, dude, where you at? And I was like, I'm in Vegas. He's like, oh, shit. And he's like, dude, like, and then that's when he said, I guess he sent you the picture or whatever. And then you called me, like, hey, what's up, dude? Like, where you at? Like, oh, I'm here. And that's when I, you know, purchased it or whatever.
everything happened. Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, maybe that's the reason after that, it was like, you know, that's why I didn't respond anymore because I was like, hey, I'm out here with my family.
Yeah, yeah. It's all fun and games until somebody dies of a heart attack, man. You know, I almost died, man. Nah, but I appreciate that. Yeah. Later on, you know, I was selling. I think it was late after that. I sold the Ripster or before that.
No, before that.
It was before that. Yeah.
It was before?
It was before that.
I was selling the Ripster.
Because you sold
trying-
the Ripster in...
Because you sold it to you at the day.
No,
at
I
the,
take
at
it
the
back.
show.
No,
It was
no,
after.
It was after.
right, a little bit after. You're right.
after, yeah.
You're
So
right,
no,
you're right.
yeah. I was.
That's
I
all
was.
like-
I was
Yeah, you're right, you're right.
What
and I-
figure are you talking about?
Huh?
Which figure did he find for you?
He found
Muscle puppet.
a puppet. Can you pass it to me?
The far
Can you
left, huh?
hand it? The
Yeah,
far,
I
the
think
far,
left.
Left.
right, left,
Right, no, right.
far right. Top, the ones in the middle,
Down.
up, one up, one up, to the right, all the way to the that one.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Can you?
Just throw it to him.
Here,
No.
Pundit.
Pásamelo. To show it to this camera. Pásamelo. So that's a hand puppet for the
wow!
for
And you found that in the wild?
Yeah,
he
dude,
found it.
I
He
was-
found it
I
in the
was-
wild,
Yeah.
and he knew I was collecting. I already had two
Vegas,
of them. There's only three. They only made three,
And that was the third one you were missing.
and this is the third one. So there's only in the box, if you can see here,
Yeah, the
there's
three.
only three, and I've only seen
Yeah, it's a nice box.
other two, which is the one that I have. And there's not many copies. Like, you don't see them. A lot of people that know the Muscle Mod line, they don't even know that they
They
existed, or they tried to.
You know, Eddie, I would have taken it a step further. I would have been like, dude, I'll sell you the figure, but I got to keep the box.
Please don't.
Yeah.
No,
Rip it in fours. I'll sell it to you in pieces.
It's a really
put
cool
it-
piece.
it's an
Wow,
amazing.
that's
It is
cool.
super rare.
Yeah.
Which that's. I mean,
Dude,
Now,
the box is an amazing condition.
Yeah, the
no
box is
crease.
good.
we can laugh about the prank right now, but I almost.
You almost died.
Yeah,
I
This was
wanted.
almost-
to.
This was almost your death.
Yeah, man, I was like, I was.
You better be
I was,
buried with this.
I was dead ass.
Yeah.
sad.
I could even told Eddie.
For
I
real.
told Eddie, you know what, Eddie?
You
If you
were
would have
thinking
sent me
of
that,
losing friendships over this. I could feel that.
I 100%, 100% said like, okay, Eddie,
Yeah. I wouldn't be here
no,
right now.
you know what? I told Eddie, you know what?
this is so.
I told Yuli, well, you know what? Eddie sent me the picture first. I could have bought it.
Yeah, no, they all were trying to be funny, yeah, man. But jeez, they were playing with my feelings, man. I mean, but for the piece that it
That's
is,
really
I
cool.
mean, I was like, yeah,
It was worth the prank,
that
right?
it was worth the prank.
worth it,
yeah,
right?
I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay,
We
yeah.
can laugh about it
forgive
now,
me, Eddie.
but
He
Yeah,
forgave us.
for real,
we
yeah.
can
He
laugh
forgives
about
us.
it now, but they played me real good, man. It got me
That was
real
a
good.
good prank, man.
Wow, well, it was worth it, man. It's an awesome piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
That is cool.
All right, so okay, guys. Anything else that you guys want to add before we?
Well,
give him the mic.
I just
Give him
want
a-
to say, I hope everybody had a wonderful year last year, and that I hope this year brings you everything else you couldn't get this past year.
Lots of
And-
Barbies.
And I
Lots
hope I hope that we all keep collecting. There's tons of stuff out there. Don't stop hunting.
Keep the market alive, guys.
and let's keep it going. Let's
All right.
be strong in 25.
I got an idea. Before we leave, real quick. Next figure that you're looking for this year.
I'm honestly really, really looking to. I know I said this 2 years ago, right? Was it last year?
Last year, I guess. Yeah,
Looking for that Leo Faker.
the Leo figure.
Yeah.
All right. Nacho,
I'm gonna go back into Motu.
Motu. Any specific toy like
Probably gonna go into India, the Leos.
the Leos? Oh, sure. Yeah, you're going deep. Yeah. All right.
We're going
Okay,
deep
cool, cool,
into
cool.
yeah.
What about you, Eddie?
Same thing, man. Like
Motu. Oh, it's
Motu
coming
Leo,
back.
Leo,
Motu's
Leo,
coming-
yeah, Motu Leo.
Oh, it's coming back. You know,
So that's the plan. And if I find some other cool pieces along the way, I'll take them.
I know you're retired from collecting, but is this something that you're looking for your store, or even I don't know if you still like have that figure that you kind of like didn't find when you were collecting and you're still looking for, or something like that.
No, I think I'm
You-
good. I mean, I hope more stuff keeps walking into our store. Customers can find a lot more stuff for their collections, and I hope we can help a lot of you continue collecting and completing your collections. So,
Cool. Yeah, I'm still looking that.
Yuli?
I'm still looking at that Dragon Ball, the Goku
Okay.
on the box. It's freaking hard to find, but
Man, I don't know. I really have a feeling it's gonna pop up.
hopefully,
And I think if you keep on talking about it,
somebody's gonna.
I think somebody's gonna come and tell
the
you, "Hey, I
universe
got this
will
piece."
send it to you.
I'm going to Vegas this year, so you never know.
That will happen with the muscle nose. A lot of not only that puppet, but the cats and everything.
Yeah.
I was just talking about it, and people like started like, hey,
Yeah.
That's how they came up. Like a lot of people say, I've been hunting for them, for years, looking for them, and even though I wanted them, I never actually like lift a finger to try to find it. Like they came to me.
Yeah, you know,
Which is
like
pretty cool.
honestly, this past year, Yuli actually
I
did.
mean, I still had to pay a lot of money.
Yeah,
but,
usually reached out to me. Yuli did, and I know there was somebody actually selling him a faker, and he had promised me, if one of them comes up, I'll let you get the first. Unfortunately, at that time, it was a lot of money, and I didn't have that kind to spend. And this is where the addiction, all that we know our limits.
Limitations,
Yeah, and I
yeah,
couldn't.
limitations.
I couldn't pull the trigger on that,
Yeah.
but it stayed in the back. And I even told Yuli like about 2 weeks ago, or 2 weeks later, right? I was like, hey. See what he's willing to do, cash and trade, or see how we could work something out. But he had sold it, right? Or
yeah,
something?
he sold it. He was a guy
And
from
I'm telling you,
Mexico.
man, these things go for money, but they sell so quick.
They go, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they sell quick.
All right. Well, I wish you guys, can fulfill your, your collection, desires and all of that. So same to y'all guys. If you're watching this, hope you guys can find those, figures and action figures or toys or Barbies or whatever you're looking for this year. Keep hunting, keep the hobby alive. And I hope you guys had, a wonderful, year and holidays and all of that. So keep it up, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
thank you,
I
guys.
really
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
All right.
Peace.
Mike.
All right.